All right, time being 5:15, I'd like to welcome everyone to the October 10th, 2024 Infrastructure and Facilities Meeting. With a quorum of members present, I'll call the meeting to order and welcome everyone. We'll start with agenda item number 1, approval of minutes from September 12th, 2024.
Move to approve as recorded.
All right, I have a motion from Neil,
I'll second.
second from Larson. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? None are opposed. And we will move on to agenda item number 2, public comment / discussion on closure of 28th Avenue between Madonna Drive and West Wausau Avenue. I'd like to thank everyone who came. We'll start right away with the public comment. So I'll just remind people, we're going to keep this as respectful and courtesy to each other as possible. This is going to be considered a public comment, so don't feel bad if we can't reply to you. This is your time to state your opinion, state your facts, ask questions. We won't be able to answer them, but we will definitely be taking notes. If you would like to have a further discussion, you can stick around at the end of the meeting, and I'm sure Alan or myself will be glad to talk with you about anything you have, any concerns you have. I'm going to give everyone around 3 minutes to talk. That's kind of our standard. If you don't need the 3 minutes, that's fine too. And then I'll just say, have everyone state your name and address clearly so we get you in the minutes properly. So I guess I'll take a raise of hands of whoever wants to go first. Way in the back there, yeah.
Good evening.
Welcome.
I'm Mark Lehman, 716 North 30th Avenue, Wausau. I'd like to first off thank Alan for sending us this letter. And I've got a couple of questions. Number one, I did some research on proposed 5-year projects, and I see that for 2026, 28th Avenue was recommended to be reconstructed, and the cost of that to be $1.5 million estimated. And I was just wondering why this was not an option. We were given 2 options here, one to reroute it and one to put cul-de-sacs on. And I'm just wondering why, if there was $1.5 million allocated for it, why we're not going through with that. Second of all, I've got opposition, major opposition, to option 1. And the reason being is option 1 was first, I guess, brought up many, many years ago before homes on North 30th Avenue were ever constructed. And I guess, you know, if there were to be a road run through at that time, it would not have made a difference, but it makes a major difference now that homes are constructed on North 30th Avenue, because we have really a north direction of exit and entrance and a south direction of exit and entrance. And we prefer the north because North 30th Avenue is a very steep drop-off on the backside, and it's very treacherous. Furthermore, if there's any need to come up that hill, I'm sure my wife's car would never make it up the first grade. It's very steep. On the exit, last year we had a major accident where a propane truck actually rolled as he lost control coming down the hill. It is nothing but treacherous. So if you take away our northern exit, you're going to have to do something with North 30th Avenue to make it more safe. And I don't know how you would do that because the grade is what it is, okay? I know there were a couple more things I wanted to mention. I guess if I were to have to vote for the 2 options, I would vote for the cul-de-sacs, option 2. I know that's probably the least expensive for the city, the county, whoever's taking care of it. And I'm sure that's probably the option. I'm hopeful that's the option that the city would undertake. It makes the most sense to me. But I certainly would like answers as to why we're not looking at redoing 28th Avenue and redoing it properly. I know there's just been overlays and of blacktop over the top of it, and it really, it washes out every time. I understand we've got issues, but if it's done correctly, and storm drains are installed and catch basins where we're not running inches of water down the hill every time we get a 2-3 inch rainfall. There's a lot of rain that comes and water that pours down through there. I can see how washouts occur. But if it's done properly and you've got $1.5 million to do it, I would suggest bringing that up as an alternative. That would be another alternative I think the Wausau should take a look at. Anything else? Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
But thank you for your time,
Yep.
appreciate it.
Thank you. Name and address so we can get you
Sure.
in the minutes properly. And
Good evening. My name is Tom Christopher. I live on 815 North 28th Ave. That's one of those duplex condos that are on top of the hill. My wife and I have been there for 20 years. I would recommend you consider option B. I think the cul-de-sacs just make a ton of sense. We live right where the hill peaks and comes over. There are cars going up that hill regularly 50, 60 miles an hour. It is just not safe. People coming the other way just are tearing butt. And it just, every year that road has to be reconstructed. I mean, I don't know how much money the city has spent so far on reconstruction of 28th Ave, but it seems like every spring there's a major renovation. It's down for a while. And I would say let's just get done with it, put the cul-de-sacs in, and find a better way of doing business.
thank you.
Gary Stein, 2900 West Belmont Road, Wausau. I want to put my vote in to keep that 28th Avenue open. It's my understanding that about 1,700 vehicles use that stretch every day, average. I'm one of them. And it's been truly a pain in the you-know-what to have to go around the 32nd and down all the time. Not to mention the fact that there are 27 driveways and 7 intersections on that detour stretch, compared with 1 intersection and 7 driveways going straight down 28th Avenue. I would beg to differ with the last individual. That road is not reconstructed every year. It might be fixed here and there. I would say it was lightly reconstructed about 20 years ago, and not the way Madonna Drive was reconstructed, but just kind of a quick overlay. And it lasted 20 years. If we did it right, we'd get another 20, 30 years. And we wouldn't have all this flap about detours and everything else. We could simply replace it. It's almost like there wasn't a problem, but we're coming up with some kind of solution for something that hasn't been a problem for many, many years. I also question the issue of fire and ambulance access, and I know that's not their typical route, but if it had to be, it would be there instead of going the circuitous route around that area. The maintenance of that stretch has been great. I've been up and down that thing for 24 years in all kinds of weather. If the snow is really bad, I simply avoid it, but that's rare, very rare. It's just been fine. And finally, it really looks like the people on 32nd are complaining because there's a portable radar unit installed there now, so they must have been bitching about that. And I think those are all the points that I have. I just hope that we can find a way to fix that stretch, reopen it, and let it go. Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Hello.
Hi, welcome.
Karen Singsheim, 5177 North 28th Avenue, apartment 16 in Wausau. Way out there. I take this road every day. Take it in. I feel it should be redone. They have not reconstructed it. They've patched it. And I think if, like the people have said, if they reconstruct this properly, I think it would work. I put out an e-petition. I have, I think, about 150 maybe signatures here. I don't know if you guys want that at all.
Stick around at the end, we can talk about it.
Okay. I don't know if it's an ambulance route, but I know there's an awful lot of people that take it from Merrill in. I mean, I'm out by WW. Tons of people every day coming through right along with me, going home right along with me. My friend back here lives on 29th Ave in Maple Creek. He hears races at night down Wausau. I've seen pissed off people racing down the road. Some lady had to pull her dog off to the side. It almost got hit. There's kids that are playing near those roads, and these drivers having to care. These people bought those houses in the inner, like 32nd Ave and that, for the quietness. They don't have that anymore because these cars are racing up and down because they're mad they've got to take this big detour now to get, I mean, some of them now know it, but I've seen people, the signs are not correct either at the top of West Wausau Avenue. They have the one saying, yes, it's closed, going down. You don't have anything on West Wausau Avenue. I've seen this week alone, 6 cars turn down 28th Avenue to go down the hill because there's nothing on either side saying that it's closed. And then I see him in my rearview mirror as I'm going, because he lives on 29th, I can come right up, but going and turning into somebody's driveway and going back up again. I'm sure they're a little mad too. So I really think it should be reconstructed. The cul-de-sacs, you're still going to have people going through the subdivision there that, you know, people want it quiet. They don't want all this traffic. That's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you for your time.
Want it fixed.
Yeah.
Good evening. Fred Schrader is the name, 2715 West Wausau Avenue. 18 years ago, we appeared at the council meeting here, and it was proposed to make a 4-lane out of the 28th Avenue. Well, it was not going to be 4 lanes because of the grade, and it conflicted with state standards. For one reason. And then we had another meeting where what proposal was a sale of the property on top of the hill on the east side of 28th, which the property was owned by Aspirus, and they were going to sell it to 2 developers to do I think it was 28-unit condominium, a number of stories, for the view of the ski hill. We were here and objected, not only the people on 28th Avenue and West Wausau Avenue, but the people on the 27th and 26th were here stating that all that traffic coming out of a project on Marianne Avenue down 28th would be just a tremendous amount of risk and accidents waiting to happen. That's all. I just wanted to comment that it was told to me that Aspirus was one of the parties that was in favor of closing the hill and wanted their people that would normally come up 28th to go to Westwood. I'm not questioning the ulterior motives of Aspirus, but I'm wondering a number of years ago when that didn't go through, whether or not that property might be available for developers. That would be my concern. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Brett Lichtenwald. I sent an email to a couple of folks, so I'm just going to summarize that because I don't know who's who and who might have received it.
Can you do your address?
Yeah, 3007 Ridgewood Drive.
Thank you.
So I'm in the cul-de-sac that's there. And basically, the too long didn't read version is I'm in favor of just redoing 28th Avenue and just having the traffic flow down that road again. We moved into our house, I think it was like around 2015, and we didn't even know about the master plan that the county had about redirecting 28th Avenue into the 4-lane road. So you can imagine our anxiety as we were building the house, worried that there was going to be a 4-lane road constructed like right in our backyard. Fortunately, that's kind of died down, and I guess that's kind of off the table now. But that's primarily why I'm here. Is I really am not looking forward to having like that traffic, right? If we did divert that and put that behind the house. I also talked to a lot of neighbors that are on 32nd, and I think the current detour should be changed. And again, like what Mark said, I saw that there is, a plan to redo 28th Avenue. I think in the meantime, what could be done is to move the detours to Westwood Avenue, though, instead of sending the traffic down 32nd Avenue. I have young kids who go to a bus stop intersection on 32nd and West Wausau Avenue. And about a week ago, my wife was there, and there was a fairly long line of cars, and one of the cars got impatient and tried to cut off the bus while the kids were getting off the bus. And the bus driver had to honk their horn at them, tell them, hey, no, you can't go, like kids are getting off the bus. So it's just it's just a really bad area. There's a house that's being constructed there too. So, there's still building going on there, right? So it really is a residential neighborhood, and we're just sending all this traffic right through the residential neighborhood. So I think that's it.
Okay. Thank you.
Rick Kleinbecker, 806 North 28th Avenue. If I had a preference, I would vote for option 2. However, I think the city should do a better job of promoting 20th Avenue. That's already a 4-lane north and south. That would take the traffic away from 20th Avenue altogether and not being routed to 32nd, but keep it over on 20th Avenue, which is a fairly new 4-lane road that could be utilized more than it is today.
Thank you.
George Mosier, 710 North 32nd Avenue. I would vote for 28th Avenue to be reconstructed, as since the detour went up, I have 60% more traffic on 32nd, and people do not, even though that there's a thing there but they just still go down there 900 miles an hour, and they're just not paying attention. And there's an awful lot of residential. When I built there 13 years ago, I did not expect this, because I did go to some of the meetings when they were going to do the other process of going down between 30th and 29th. And that was a 20-year plan, which then I found out that, well, that's been all scrapped. So that's all I really got to say.
All right. Thank you for coming.
I'm Bill Penzigrel, 2708 West Wausau Avenue. Been there 9 years, so I'm a little bit new to what was said previously, and I didn't read the letter or the news bulletin that says option 1, which is to reconstruct 28th Avenue. Now, my neighbor is not here, but he said there's no reason they can't reconstruct 28th Avenue and make it accessible. He's an engineer. I'm sure he'd tell you a whole lot if he was here. I mean, what year did they say $1.5 million? What year was that?
It was the 5-year plan. 5-year plan that's online right now.
Okay.
Go ahead,
yeah,
Alan. I'll let you answer that one.
That, it is in a placeholder in there for 2026. You know, that $1.5 million is just kind of a placeholder. It's going to depend on what is considered for reconstruction.
Okay.
I can tell you that that $1.5 million would not account for option 1 that was in the letter, rerouting it over to 30th, and it would not be enough to reconstruct 28th on its existing path. That $1.5 million would more than likely get you option 2 with the cul-de-sacs and the rerouting, because we would still have to do some work to carry that water down the hill and remove the existing. So that $1.5 million is basically a placeholder for option 2 at this point.
But even if it was 5 years or 10 years ago, the equipment they make today to go through a rock and reconstruct, there's a brand-new parking lot going in by the Walkabout building. I mean, they had all kinds of rock there. I mean, they took care of it. So I'm sure that they can take care of rock on 28th Avenue. And I mean, there's a lot of people, my daughter included, who use 28th Avenue to go to work. And work at all those people that work from Aspirus and the clinics and what, I mean, they all use it. So, thank you.
All right, thank you.
How's it going, everybody?
Hey.
Jeff Seidler, 3001 Maple Creek Drive. I had a whole thing written up here, but after hearing everybody, like, it totally makes sense what they're saying. I live at the bottom of 30th, so I'm the one that got the propane truck tip over. Every year we get at least one vehicle in my yard, so something's got to be done. My first thought right now is just reconstruct 28th. Just that's where everybody goes, straight shot, right? But there needs to be something done on 30th and 29th with the vehicles that come down that hill, especially during the winter. Again, I was gonna have all these good things to say, but now everybody already said it. So, but yeah, I've been living there. Either me or my dad have been living there for my whole life, 42 years. So it's a constant every single year. Seems like this meeting comes up once in a while. So I can't encourage enough. Something's got to be done, and I think 28th just reconstruct it. I was all about the cul-de-sacs until it makes a really good point. He can't go up that hill, during the wintertime. If we do those cul-de-sacs on the top of each hill, can't do it. So my suggestion right now, put up a ton of signs that say whatever that decline is, slow down, whatever, so that I can stop getting people in my yard. So that's all I got. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? Yep.
I'll try to keep my sarcastic down to nothing. I'm Mike Witter, 2904 Maple Creek or Maple Hill Drive. I've lived there for 59 years. My first car was an El Camino, if anybody knows what those are. I got up the hill in the wintertime, got down the hill in the wintertime, and my dad had a van, a real van, the old vans, and he got up and down every day. 29th Avenue is, I know Ruben at the bottom of 29th and Maple Creek Drive, he always has somebody in his yard in the wintertime. That's because everybody comes down and slides into the yard because they're driving little cars. It's going to happen. Guess what? Wausau is on a hill. a big hill. So everybody who lives here or just built a house here or bought a house on this particular area we're talking about knows that there's hill and knows it's going to be an inconvenience in certain situations. They need to redo 29th Avenue, 28th Avenue. And regardless, it's a hill. Everybody knows about water, and when water's going to go to the lowest part, you can put in all the drains and everything you want to, but just dig it out correctly on the sides for the ditches, and then therefore you will have whatever. If you get a lot of rain, it's going to come down. It's going to come down that hill. There's nothing that's going to stop it, and that road needs to be redone because I use it every day, and I'm right next to it. And all the people from Marshfield Clinic and Aspirus and all the places, all the clinics, and people from Menards, people from Home Depot, they all live on the other side, and that's the easiest, most effective way to get home. People don't want to drive up these little roads, and the other people on Madonna or West Hill Drive or whatever, they don't want to see this extra traffic. They didn't buy into this, and they don't need it. So 28th Avenue, the people at the top, at the very top on the left-hand side going up, that would be on the west side, he wanted to put a house on 29th and off of Maple Hill Drive. They couldn't do it because there was so much granite. And like this last gentleman, or the gentleman before him, says, there's machines out there nowadays. We have machines to do it, to get into the rock, fix it right, and get it done. This is emergency equipment, needs to go up and down there. They don't need to go or search around. That's why Marathon County spent all that money on renumbering everything. Just fix 28th Avenue. 29th and 30th, it's a hill. And just make sure it has good pavement on it. And that's all I'm asking. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else? I'll say it one more time. Any more comments? Okay, thank you all for your input. I'm going to close the public comment section, and we can discuss this a little bit further. So Alan and I have talked about this at great length. We were thinking about, or we have talked about moving the detour over to Westwood and not have the detour go down 32nd anymore. It's a 4-lane road. I think we can just do a consensus if everyone's okay with that or wants to discuss that further.
Is there any idea on do you know if there's additional, length or time, in travel, moving it over to Westwood? I see the benefits of getting it over to Westwood Drive because it is a 4-lane road, but does it take people really out of the way, or is it not so much of an issue?
It's definitely longer, and we can post a detour, but I think people are going to go where they want to go.
Okay.
I think the only people who are going to follow the detour is maybe the people who are unfamiliar with it or, coming in. But I think the people who drive it every day are going to go where they want to go.
Because that's the issue we had with people scooting up 30th instead of going over to 32nd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, right now, the people are using 32nd in either West Hill or Madonna
Okay.
to get up to Wausau. It may help deter some of the traffic, and it is a longer route to go West Wausau to Westwood Drive, and then back up Bridge Street. So, but it may relieve some of the traffic through the neighborhood.
Okay. Okay.
Do you have a?
Well, I understand you closed the comment, but I didn't understand that part of the agenda here today was potentially to reroute the traffic over to Westwood. And I'm Paul David, and I'm here as Assistant General Counsel for Aspirus. And so that's why I'm going to ask to comment now at this time, because my understanding would be that that you would be rerouting traffic essentially around the hospital up that road.
Up Bridge Street, yeah.
Yeah, that does become an issue then. I didn't talk because I didn't have a real position to take with regard to what I thought and understood was on the agenda, not a rerouting. That's going to take a tremendous amount of traffic by areas that really are fairly sensitive for a number of issues for safety reasons. And I would ask, I don't know that I'm prepared entirely to evaluate that here today, but that, for instance, goes right by a helicopter landing area. Those are significant issues, and I would ask that there be more of an opportunity to assess that issue before a determination is made in that regard. That's a pretty potentially, I don't know what the traffic volume numbers say, for instance. There may be issues related to temporary closures in that area because of construction work that is going to be going on the Aspirus campus. There are safety issues related to the helicopter landing pad that need to be considered. There's a lot of issues that arise by simply rerouting, and I'm just saying before we take that action, I think there needs to be more of a notice and an opportunity to evaluate and comment before that happens. Having said that, sitting back here as a citizen, I would simply say that if I had to take a position with regard to option 1 or option 2, what I would vote or suggest is that 28th Avenue, while a challenging corridor, is a natural and good corridor for a number of reasons. And the only reason I'm taking the opportunity to speak now is because I heard someone talk about the number of people, for instance, that come from Aspirus and Marshfield. And I think that's true, and I think that 28th has been a natural travel area for a lot of people for a lot of years. And I think whereas it is challenging, it is the natural, proper, good corridor, and maintaining that as the corridor is the appropriate thing. But the more important issue is we need an opportunity to evaluate any rerouting of significant traffic through those areas, because there are significant safety issues and concerns that would arise.
Yep. We can agendize that as proper and bring it back next month, or.
Thank you.
Yep. Alder Neal?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I just want to say that, I know that Alan and staff have spent a lot of time, looking at all this, and then we've had meetings discussing different options, and now, tonight we've got, a passel more public input on it, which is also going to be compiled and, considered. So no decisions are made tonight, other than to say that, going forward, we have to just lay it all out in terms of what seems to be the best. And that also includes things like, funding and whatnot, how much this or that might cost. So all those are going to be taken into account, and and people will have another chance to chime in on it. So there you go. Thank you.
Yep, and I'll just like to continue with that thought is we have our community, my community meeting that we have once a month. I volunteered it, so the second Monday in December 9th, in the basement of Grace United Church at 6 p.m. We will be having more of a Q&A and discussion with engineering. If you didn't catch that date, this video is on YouTube, so you can go back and catch it. It's also in the newsletter that was sent out this last quarter. So that would be a great time. We plan on having, am I still on? We plan on having more photos and pricing and details at that meeting. So it's just a better avenue for us to. Alan, you got something?
Sure, yeah, so I think what we talked about too is you'll probably see some traffic counters out in the neighborhoods. So we're going to do some traffic counts with the existing formations. So we're going to put them on 28th, we're going to put them on Madonna, we're going to put them on 32nd, we'll put them on West Wausau. So you'll see traffic counters going out here before winter. And then what we also talked about was getting some cost estimates. So TJ, you'll be working on those. So we'll
and a lot of those results will be ready for the December community meeting where we can present.
So as we go through here, like you say, this is a process. So we'll get some cost estimates together and we'll get some traffic counts moving
Okay.
forward.
Thank you. Just hold your thought for the end of the meeting, and we can talk then, if that works. Thank you. All right, any other discussion or comments? Okay, seeing none. Thank you, everyone, for coming. We'll move on to agenda item number 3 and open up another public hearing. So this is a public hearing for vacating and discontinuing certain right-of-way along East Thomas Street, abutting a portion of 700 Grand Avenue and vacating a portion of right-of-way formerly known as 804 through 806 Grand Avenue, 810 Grand Avenue, 814 Grand Avenue, and 816 Grand Avenue. So I will open the public comment for this item. Any public comment on 700 Grand Avenue? Okay, and for a third and final time, any public comment on vacating and discontinuing certain parts of right-of-way along East Thomas Street and Grand Avenue? Okay, seeing none, I will close the public hearing, and we will move on to agenda item number 4, discussion and possible action on vacating and discontinuing certain right-of-way along East Thomas Street, abutting a portion of 700 Grand Avenue and vacating a portion of right-of-way formerly known as 804 through 806 Grand Avenue, 810 Grand Avenue, 814 Grand Avenue, and 816 Grand Avenue. Any comments, discussion, motions?
I guess I'll start this off because a portion of this is in my district. Well, actually, I think the actual corner is in District 1, but District 2 abuts to it. I'm generally in favor of vacating and discontinuing that right away. I think, looking at the plan for development on that corner, as Eric Lindman said, that they can if they scoot the development a little bit to the south, they get that we can maintain that 20-foot strip for reconstruction and still be able to get the housing development in that area. And that's, I definitely want to see, more affordable housing, and I want to see that intersection reconstructed. I did get an email from a constituent, and his concerns, he kind of echoed the same concerns I did, but he'd like to see, with the and this would actually have, his concerns actually move on down further down the line with the actual reconstruction, but enough space allocated so that that intersection is more of a complete street with protected lanes for cyclists and pedestrians. So whatever we can do, if we can have enough, if we can reserve enough space for that intersection to be properly reconstructed while still maintaining the development of affordable housing in that corner, I am in favor of it.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Okay. I'm assuming that's a motion to...
A motion to vacate.
Motion to vacate by Alder Mertens.
Second.
Second by Alder Larson. Any other discussion? See none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None are opposed. That passes. And we'll move on to agenda item number 5. Discussion and possible action on first revision to the state municipal agreement of Grand Avenue, for Grand Avenue, Kent Street to Thomas Street. And Alan?
Yes, so this is a pretty big project, as you can imagine, reconstructing Grand Avenue from Kent Street to Thomas Street, which would include the reconstruction of Thomas Street, which you were just mentioning. Originally the DOT had this on the books and then they kind of took it off. But now it's back on the table. They redid their pavement evaluation and they feel that it's up for reconstruction. So the DOT will pay 100% of the reconstruction, other than the sewer and the water costs, because it's a connecting highway. So it's very, the city of Wausau utilities would be responsible for the sewer and the water utilities. But other than that, the DOT is 100% responsible for the reconstruction. I just want to point out there is a cost estimate in there for right-of-way acquisition too, but that's responsibility of the state. There is a possibility that they might be buying some real estate along there for the possibility of widening it to some sort of an extent. I think they're in a planning process yet, so they're really unsure of what they're going to do, but if they can widen it, they will for pedestrian or bicycle accommodations. So I think this is a good news for the city that this stretch of street will get reconstructed. The asphalt Band-Aid was put on about 5 years, maybe 6, 7 years ago already, and it's held up very well from, I didn't think it would hold up this well, but it has held up pretty well, but this would give a chance to completely reconstruct that roadway. So I would recommend we approve this.
Okay, thank you. Larson?
Mr. Chair,
Yep, Alderman Larson.
can I address Adam?
Yeah.
Is there any cost estimate on what it's going to cost the city for replacing the sewer lines and stuff along there?
Not at this stage. We're pretty early in it. I mean, we have to televise all the lines, but I would say that that's not going to be cheap just because it's an old section of town, and it's likely that all the water main and all the sewer and all the water would be replaced. I mean, there's a placeholder in here for the sewer and the water, non-participating items above $1 million. I would, as we get along here, we'll have to refine that, but I would bet that'll go up. But there is a placeholder in here for $1 million as a city cost for sewer and water.
All right, thank you.
Alderman
Yeah, I mean, the sooner this is a really main artery, obviously, and the sooner we get this behind us, the better. Just get it taken care of. I would move to approve the motion, the proposal.
Okay, so I have a motion to approve
I'll
from Alder
second.
Neal, second from Alder Larson. Any more discussion? I'll just add, did we recently pass something to redo the intersections on Town Line, and is that part of this?
So that's a little bit of a snafu. The DOT did give us money to reconstruct those signals, and we have started that process, the design, but we're going to probably back off on that just because it wouldn't pay to reconstruct those signals and then a couple years later redo them again. So that's, yeah.
But you might have some engineering work done to help them, maybe.
Yeah. Well, we don't want to put it in and then go, possibly. So yeah, you are right, Alder Henke, that we did have somebody, but we are since backing off on that, working with the DOT to ensure we don't do work that they're going to come and redo in a couple of years. Because those signals were going to probably be in 26, and this project here we're talking about, the complete reconstruction, is probably 30. They may advance it, to, if they can, but we're probably talking 2030 by the time this is constructed.
Okay, all right, thank you. Alder Martins?
Yeah, I guess I got a question. So this would, but the reconstruction of Grand Avenue would also entail a partial reconstruction of Town Line Road there? Or not?
Well, it would do all the intersections on Grand
Do
Avenue.
all the intersections on Grand Avenue?
Including
Okay.
Thomas Street and including Kent Street.
Sturgeonetti?
Yeah, those would all get redone and looked at. New signals, new everything.
Yeah, the turn lanes on Town Line Road are poor, because I think just at least once a month, a semi clips that traffic signal on the intersection.
Right, the design would put trombones up and take those signals out of the center median there.
Okay, perfect. So, okay, thank you.
Okay, so I have a motion on the table from Alder Neal, seconded by Larson. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None are opposed. Okay, we'll move on to agenda item number 6, discussion of possible action on assessment rates for 2025 construction projects. Alan?
Yeah, so my write-up, I guess, explains where we're at with the past history and the establishing the rates for 24, so I guess I'm open to, discussing it. The current rate is $55 per foot. And like I explained in the memo, traditionally, since I've gotten here, that $55 per foot was supposed to represent like 60% of the cost of putting in the roadway, not the sewer and the water, but just the roadway itself. But as you can tell from my write-up, it's a long way from $55 per foot. If we wanted to recover 60% of the roadway, we'd have to be like $120 a foot, which would be, I think, overburdensome to the people living on that street. If you look at a 60-foot lot, you could have people paying $20,000 for a street reconstruction. So I think we just have to get away from the notion. This is just my personal opinion. You guys make the rules, but to get away from the notion that the residents are going to carry 60% of the cost of the roadway. I just don't think that that's feasible. My recommendation would be keep it at the $55 per lineal foot, what you have now. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Any comments, discussion? Alder Neal?
Well, I appreciate what Alan has said here, and I respect it too. I think, things do go up, but we can't expect, some dramatic increase in, citizens, seeing the road costing them an arm and a leg. So I respect that, and I would make a motion to approve his recommendation.
Okay, so I have a motion to approve the assessment rates for 2025 projects. Second from Alder Martins. Any further discussion? I guess my only question would be, how many years have we been at $55? Do you know?
This is the second year at 55. They went up from 42. They took quite a jump 2 years ago from 42 to 55.
Okay.
And then last year they were 55. This year they're 55. So this would be the third year at 55 next year.
Okay. All right, so I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Alder Neal?
Well, would our decision here then constitute a recommendation to going to finance, or is this, the end of the road on the subject?
I guess, I don't know how it's gone in the past, but Alan?
It would go to council.
Straight to council?
Yes.
Okay.
But not through the committee?
Not through finance. It typically hasn't.
Okay, all right.
All right, so I have a motion and a second on the table. Anything else? All those in favor signify by saying yeah.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? And that passes. Okay, agenda item number 7, discussion and possible action on preliminary resolution levying special assessments for 2025 street construction projects. Alan?
So this would basically give us the right to have a public hearings to us where people would show up and give their approval or disapproval to the assessment rates that you just set at $55 per foot. So we just would set that preliminary resolution on the streets that are listed, which have come before this committee before for reconstruction in 25, which are listed.
Okay. Any discussion, comments? Motion. Motion from Alder Watson. Okay. Second from Alder Martins. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None are opposed. And move on to agenda item number 8, discussion of possible action on preliminary resolution levying special assessments for 2025 alley paving projects. And one more time, Alex.
Yeah, so we received one petition for the alley paving between First Avenue, Third Avenue, Sherman Street, and Rosecrans. So this would set that public hearing to set those and assess those assessments for the paving on the asphalt in the alley.
And that would be scheduled for 2025 project?
Correct.
Okay.
If whatever the results of the public hearing, whatever this committee decides to do, but this would set that hearing.
We always kind of have an alley paving fund to correct, and if a petition comes, then we.
Yes, this year we had the funding, we had 35,000 in there, but then there was no petitions to pave alleys this summer, so we did not pave any this summer.
Okay.
This is the only petition we have received so far for 25.
Thank you. Comments, discussion, Alder Martins?
If there's no alley paving projects this year, did we carry over those funds for next year then? Or is it just the money go back and then it's still 35,000 for 2025?
I think that depends on what finance wants to do. I think there's carryover requests, and whether that carryover is requested to go to the following year, or it's just goes back to the general fund. That's yet to be determined. Because every year there are carryover requests, and we did not use that 35,000 this year, so I don't know if we'll request to carry it over, because if we only have one alley, maybe if we get another alley, then we would need that $35,000 carrying into next year, so that yet to be determined.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, any further discussion? For a motion?
I'll make the motion that we go ahead with item number 8 on the, for the paving of the alleys for the 2025 alley paving project.
All right, I have a motion to approve the resolution for the special assessments. A second from Alder Neal for the alley projects. Any more discussion? See none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None are opposed. And we move on to the final item, adjournment. Motion, Watson, second, Neal. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you, everyone. We stand adjourned.
Can I just make a comment on what you were talking about rerouting the detour?